about your experience going through C-section you were at the Brazilian public hospital, right? What is it like to give birth in Brazil?
It was hell. It was a hell because the obstetrical violence is something very common in Brazil. So we don't have a proper conditions. Actually, the public hospitals, they are very precarious, that's the truth. So I was in the room with a lot of women that was in preparation for delivering babies in a regular way. So it was normal to see the bed sheets full of blood. They were screaming in pain, and somehow the nurses or the nursery technicals, when they come to you, they look and say, okay, if she's screaming, it means that she's still okay. So it's something like this. And one of the technicals, they come and try to induce a regular birth on me. And I told him, okay, the doctor said it will be regular. And then she completely ignored me and put something on my medicine that was hanging.
Dripping, yeah, infusion.
Tripping. So I think it was a miracle because I didn't felt nothing. That medicine was supposed to give me some contractions. And I just turned myself in my side and I slept. And they were complaining that I was not feeling pain. So later on, another technical come and washing my parts with some products. And I said to him, you are hurting me. And then he looked at me and said that the head of the baby passed there and it hurt you even more. And then I told him, okay, but my delivery will be C-section. And he even didn't say, I'm sorry, I remember his face. Just looked at me like this, like a very indifferent, and left the room. And I was left there feeling in pain, feeling helpless, because you cannot do nothing. So technically it should be a very special moment in the life of any woman. But I believe that regardless your pregnancy was planned or not, if you're giving birth in a place like this, you generate a lot of stress. You cannot get out of this because you feel the vibe, the environment of people, the way they treat you. So after I gave birth, I was at a unit of intensive treatment and then I have a hot shower. And after a few days, I was going upstairs. I could not walk in properly. I had to go shower in the cold water. And it was, the weather was a bit colder. And they just look, this is normal. This is normal. So it's take care of yourself. And I was thinking maybe I could, I don't know, be without showering or do something because it was cold. No, you have to go and there is a nurse looking at you, look like you're in a prison. You have to go. And you have to
have a cold shower.
Yeah.
With C-section, you had just surgery.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're saying that you were planned for C-section and you were waiting for your C-section in the hospital.
Yes.
And then someone came to induce you by mistake because you were supposed to have C-section, but then you were given a medicine that was supposed to call for contractions.
Yes.
But you didn't, by luck, you didn't have contractions, and it could have been really risky because...
That's how things happen in Brazilian public hospitals. So they did a mistake not only once but twice with this medicine and with my washing processes. They even didn't know that you should wash a vagina inside for having a baby.
I didn't get it. I gave birth twice. I never washed inside my...
Yes. Yes, this is crazy. They put some product there and I got mad about it. And there is a miscommunication between between the doctors, the nursery, and the technicals of nurseries. So it's three different people working together, and they didn't manage to communicate. And you're right, it's something very serious could have happened to me if I had felt the contraction, because my body was not ready. My son was inside me for 7 months, and normally a regular pregnancy it goes 40 weeks. So Yes, it was kind of crazy.
And your second birth, was it C-section or a natural birth?
C-section, it was very smooth. I just said to the doctor, okay, this day I'm going to the hospital, you have a time for packing your stuff, and we performed the C-section, and everything was fine. So at least this part of giving birth second time, the part of giving birth was okay in terms of medical stuff. It was very organized, everyone was synchronized to do everything on time. I didn't suffer any violence, obstetrical violence, because it was a private hospital, so the conditions was much better than the first son.
So why did you choose C-section? Because of the first C-section, or was there any other reasons?
Because I was super afraid. I was scared. I think it's related to the first son and the violence, the obstetrical violence. So I even don't thought about delivering naturally. I just thought, okay, I have a C-section. Since I was afraid that someone could hurt me or that something could happen, like in Brazil, when you have a natural delivery, if it's too difficult of the head of baby pass through the vaginal channel, they will cut you there, and it's completely normal, and it is not normal for us regular human being, but in the hospital they treat you as nothing. So I was afraid of this cut that they do so the head of the baby can pass through. This was something that I was terrified about. And when I thought about it, okay, the second one will be C-section, so at least I know what to expect in the post-surgery.
And there's no problem?
If you're paying if you have a health insurance, everything's fine. So I had the health insurance, and the doctor also receives some money if he performs the cesarean birth.
Mm-hmm. So because there is a financial remuneration for C-section, there's no problem doing that.
Yeah, no problem.
How much does it cost in Brazil to give birth?
I don't know for sure, because the family of my husband was paying some health insurance, because here in Germany, no, it's public. In Brazil, it's private. So you pay, at that time, you paid like 100 reais, it would be almost 10 euros per month. And then you go to the doctor and do your consultations that are necessary, but you have to pay privately. Normally, if you work for a company, the company will pay this for you. But if you don't have a job, you pay this privately, and the price of this depends on your age. The older you get, the expensive it is.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that your second son is in Brazil. Why is that? Why is he not with you?
Because I could not manage with his father for bringing him when I was traveling abroad. It was a difficult process. I know that I have cultural differences when I move out of Brazil. However, I wanted to give him the opportunity, so I told to his father, all right, if he's not going to leave, maybe visiting, but his father didn't give permission. He was insecure, feeling insecure that I would just kidnapping my own son and kept him in Taiwan or here in Germany. Yeah, unfortunately.
So he's refusing to let him go even for a short period of time?
Yes.
In the court?
So then, because of this, I had to go on court. So what had happened is 2 years ago I got back to Brazil, and since the pandemic outbreak, he told me that I could not see my son because of COVID-19, that I could transpass this to my son because I was coming from Europe. And I told him that it was an absurd, so we had a shared responsibility. However, since my son is living with him, he blocked the contact, so I had to go on court to have the right for seeing my son. So I got back to Brazil in this year for seeing him. And it was always like this. I was getting back at least once per year, and at that time from Taiwan was a bit difficult because the ticket is very expensive. But anyway, I managed to go, and every time I was going there, I found out this problem. Like I'm trying to take the passport of my son since I left Brazil in 2016, and he doesn't want to give his signature. So he used the power. He used the power of his authority as a father for blocking my son for going to travel to new places, to get to know new places. So in the end of all, I went against him on court. Unfortunately, the process could not go on. I lost the first batch, let's say like this. And then I asked my son, because for me his opinion is very important, so would you like to proceed with this, because my own son asked for that. So when he grows older, he figured out that I put some effort to try to bring him here and show him a different lifestyle, different way of living, and bring more culture in his life, because in Brazil he's living in a bubble. Since the country is too diverse in economic issues, it's very normal to have a very rich place in one point of the city, and 15 kilometers away the city is completely changed and the environment is completely different. It's dangerous. So I think this is a unique feature of Brazil, maybe at least from the place I was raised. And what happened is I lost the process, and now I will not put more effort on that, because the father could realize that it's not a problem with me, it's not me being a bad mother, but the child which has some opportunity that will be lost through the years. Like my son, he moved out, the first one was 12 years old. Today he speaks Portuguese, English, Chinese and German, and is learning Spanish at the school. And in the world like we are living now, I think this is our basic skills, they are essential. So in Brazil, what he will do, what are the perspectives for staying? I think once you figure out you have other possibilities, it's nice to explore all of them, or at least if you cannot do it, you make space for the people that you can make space for them. So it was a bit sad, of course. I felt sad, and being a mother through the phone and through the internet is a challenging task, because I'm seeing my son raised without a sexual education like me, but when I look at his Instagram page, he's posting music with sexual content. I know that the conversations that he's having among his colleagues at the school, because sometimes he opened this to me, and at his house he's being raised by grandparents. Grandparents, they don't have energy for following those things anymore. And the father, if the father is not attentive, it's easy. When the child is 16 years old doing wrong things like he did in the past. So when I knew my first husband, we had a lot of problems. Like, I don't think that even he thinks this is a positive thing and a positive way to educate the children. So I hope, I'm expecting that in the future he can do better with my son, with our son. And then I could do here in Germany, because here I'm still struggling, of course. The language is difficult. I'm going to the school daily, but I work from home. I could have all the possibilities to sit with him, to talk a bit about the sexual education, to teach him the basics. Okay, you cannot treat a woman like this, and make him learning the basics. Like in Taiwan, you have classes of household. Like the children, they are learning how to cut some tomatoes, how to cook, and they cook at the school. There is no employees at the school. They clean the bathroom, they clean the floor, they do everything. But in Latin America, I think this is poor things from us. We teach that the man goes outside and earn the money, and the woman stay at home doing those things. And when the men come back from work, they can do whatever they please. With the woman, with the house, and don't take care. So women, they are educated for searching for a financial supporter, and the men, they are educated for searching for a second mom. So probably my son, if he is not well attentive and better educated, the path will be the same. Because even if he has financial stability is not emotional stability. Like nowadays, if you don't learn someone about emotional resilience and intelligence, how you can deal with yourself, and by consequence, how you deal with the other and with the world.
So what was the reason? What was the reasoning of the court to leave your son with his father? Normally they align with mother.
Yes, normally they are. I was on court for the right for seeing him and raise him here in Germany after I left to Taiwan. That's what I did, because I wanted to bring him for seeing the places I was living before. It's not for living. It's just for introducing him little by little. Okay, this is Asia. Do you like this? In Asia we have this. In Asia we have a boba tea. In Asia we speak Chinese. Do you like this? If you like, you can stay with mom as long as you wish. It was the same with Germany. Okay, this is Germany. Here people, they like currywurst, they like beers, there is the Oktoberfest. Do you like it? If you like, you can stay as much as you want. If you don't like, you can get back home and feel better and go where you feel better. With your family, with your father, with your grandparents, or with me and your brother. This was the original idea. But the father, he forbidden him since Taiwan to go there by blocking the right of taking the passport, which is a basic document for traveling. So that's why I was on court. So the main reason was because I was blocked to see my son during the corona outbreak. And after I got back from Brazil this year, in April, I got back to Germany, my son got the coronavirus Delta variant. So I was not even there. So he was suffering inside the room, losing weight, and he was told to be laying down in the bed. He could not stand up. He was treated like someone which was in the terminal state. And belief is a powerful thing for the mind. If you believe you are sick, you'll be sick.
Do you think the court can decide in your favor if you...
No, because I didn't restart the process again, respecting my son. He said it's
because he wanted to stay
Yes.
with his father.
He said, now I don't want this to go like this. I know that he's only 12. He doesn't have the right for choosing things and doing everything. But I decided to give him a break about it and wait. This is what I can do. So the plans now, I go back there to Brazil to see him. Like my next trip, I will spend some time together, but it's really difficult to start because the main allegation that I use in the process of the court has happened until nowadays. It's a parental alienation because the father of my son said to my son that I abandoned him, that now I have another family, that I don't care about him.
That's horrible.
Yeah, this is horrible. And now my son is saying, okay, you are coming here, so maybe we can spend days together, but I don't want to sleep with you at your house. We are coming here, but I would like to do this. And then everything that he wants now is some financial. Like, okay, I saw these nice shoes that I was looking, it was 100 euro. And for Brazil, this is very expensive. This would be the salary of some person during the month. And then I have to sit to him and explain that, okay, things doesn't work like this. You don't use the shoes for showing to the others. So you bought 4 shoes, are you a caterpillar? So I have to show him the basic things out of this consumption world, that the world doesn't start in the shopping malls and ends at the trash. No, he has zero ecological education because his life is prepared for that, for showing the brands that he wears. Like the brand is a sign of status, exactly. And the brands and the nice and fancy clothes. We are traveling to the southeast together, and I told him, okay, you're going with me. And he said that this year he didn't ask for any gifts at his birthday. He only asked for money so he could buy everything, clothes, all the money he gets. And I was thinking, me with 12 years, if I get some money, probably I'll buy some sweets or some toys. But now he's worried with his clothes, and he has a lot, more than he needs, more than one person needs. And this is basic education that I think he's not being taught well, because at his house people make a mess of education and scholarization. So they think that if they send the kids to school, that's it. You don't have to put any effort. They say to the kid, okay, you should eat well, but when you look to the parents is eating chips in the night. You should study, but the parents are playing video game or doing something. So the kids, they are mirror of us, of everything that we do. So that's why I think that pregnancy non-programmed can be a bit dangerous, but if you manage to do yourself, automatically you do with your kids too. That's what happened, at least with the one that had the opportunity to be raised with me all the time. The youngest one I still don't know because he's still young, so let's see, not that I do everything perfect, but I took out my hero cape and come to my son say, okay, I'm learning how to be your mother. Do you have any suggestions? I'm not perfect. And ask him, okay, how would you like this to be? I'm not perfect, I'm a human being like you. So by doing this, I'm showing my vulnerabilities. And this, in my view, is only when you are able to show your vulnerability, you can be strong too. So my vulnerability, showing and expose it to my son and to my kids, actually to both of them, is a way for being strong too. That's what I learned through my life process.
But now you can talk as much as you want through like Zoom or calls with your son in Brazil, right? Or are there any limitations?
There is some limitations because he's not educated to speak with his own mother too. So sometimes I'm speaking to him, he's playing video game. Sometimes I'm speaking with him, he has to go to somewhere. So he's very avoidant at the phone.
Oh, okay.
And
but there are no legal limitations, or from his father's side?
No, there is no legal limitations. Okay. So the outcome of this process is now I can see my son 30 days per year directly when I'm there. And if I'm going to Brazil and spend a long time, I have the weekends, like a switched weekends. One weekend I can go and the other one I can't. And this was like this before. So when I traveled to Brazil this year in February, I spent 8 weeks. From these 8 weeks, only 4 weeks I could see my son. 4 weekends, sorry, weekends. I had to make a choice because once you're born poor, you have to enhance your life. So I could stay in Brazil working at the university 8 hours per day. But I chose to keep my studies in Taiwan. This was my choice. And this is a choice that I have to forgive myself daily. Okay, I didn't abandon my son. I didn't have a family to support me. I didn't abandon my son. I didn't have the money for staying. I didn't abandon my job. My son, I didn't have my mental conditions good enough for staying in this condition that I was. So in Brazil, I developed many stress problems because of the job, because of trying too much to escalate in the society ladder. But in the end of all, it will not work. The more effort I put, it looked like it would be endless, that I could easily go to my 50s doing the same thing. And being just tired and having my health condition decreased through the years. So I chose to find a different lifestyle, and right now I feel satisfied, but I lost something which was very important for me. Hopefully I can redeem this when he's a bit older, because when he's 18 he will not need the signature of his father for traveling abroad. He will not need the permission for traveling abroad.
What would be your advice for someone who is now pregnant as a teenager?
Okay, this is not the end of your life, it's just the beginning. It's a hard path, but it's an amazing one. This is also what I could say to myself. When I was pregnant by myself, I would advise them to figure out that, okay, now you give up on the part of your life that is being only you for raising someone else. And of course, part of us should die so we can born in another shape. It's like born as a mother was what made me strong for keeping my life and doing what I'm doing nowadays and take some decisions.
Thank you very much.